Well, greetings everyone. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Topic UFO. I'm your host, Rick Scouler, and tonight we're going to be talking to Mr. Robert Bingham, who is considered the man who summons UFOs. Now, Mr. Bingham claims that he has the power or the insight, I'm not sure what it is, to actually summon UFOs at will. I have seen some of his videos. I have not got to speak to him too much personally yet, so you're going to be learning right alongside me. But some of the videos, I must say, are quite compelling. So, without further ado, let's welcome him to the show. Mr. Bingham, are you out there, sir?
Yes, I am, Rick, and thank you for letting me be on this show. I really am happy to come out here and enlighten your viewers.
Well, no problem. That's what this show's all about. We have some big-name UFO type people on the show, but then again, we have just normal, everyday type people that have amazing experiences. And to be honest with you, I think some of those are probably more interesting than, some of the other stuff. So Robert, before we get into the actual summoning of the UFOs, when did you start becoming interested in UFOs or noticing that you had some special communication ability or whatever?
Well, this happened about 14 years ago. Actually, I saw a few UFOs throughout my life as a youngster, and I was privileged to see a cigar craft when I was about 15. So I actually saw a few, but and I knew that UFOs were real, and that the government and the SETI project was really a farce to me. That they were saying that they were looking for extraterrestrial life, because I saw it. And so when it really started to figure out what's going on, is one day I was checking out a room in a boarding house, and the manager told me to check out this one room that had a balcony on the second floor. It was a Victorian home, and it had a big white street in the front, and it was a beautiful night, and it was very windy. The Santa Ana winds were kicking up, and there were about 30-mile-an-hour winds, or 35 or something like that. And he had told me, "What do you think about the weather?" I go, "It's a great night to see a great night to see an alien." I did say that, and I didn't know why I said that. So he says, "Well, look at Robert. I'm showing it to this lady." And I had a room in the house, but I wanted to change rooms because it was much bigger. And so he says, I'll call you when it's ready. When I'm ready to. So he came in my room and he called me, and I went over there. And he was on the porch, and I was checking out the closet or something. And he said, "Robert, there's an alien coming down the street." So I said, "Come on, Jaime." I thought he was joking. But actually, he said, "No, there's one. Come over here." So I realized that something was coming down. So I went on the balcony with him, and this craft was coming at the level of the second story down the street, and continually changing shape as it was coming down the street. The thing that really struck me really weird, not really weird, but really struck me as something that was impossible, was that this craft was not affected by the wind. It was like if it was on a monorail system. Nothing in physics altered it at all. Its course and its speed was just like a monorail. And it was really, I said, wow. And as it was changing shape, it took on diamond shapes. and it was a oddest-looking aerodynamics because it had no windows. It was just black. It was black actually, and it had diamond cuts like all sides, like stout. So as it was coming by at that slow speed, at a certain angle, it looked like a navy gray. And then you got to remember it was in the evening, so it was getting dark. And then it made a right-hand turn and went behind me over the house, and I couldn't see it anymore. So I just, Jaime didn't want to talk about it much, so we both didn't talk about it, too much. So after that incident, I took my grandson to go fishing, and he was about 6 years old at the time. And I told him, I said, Adrian, do you want to see a UFO? And he said, yeah. I don't know if he even, and I explained it to him what a UFO was. And so I did look in the sky, and I telepathically called him, and then one showed up, a metallic orb, and it moved around the sky in such, almost like a cursor on your monitor, and you're moving the mouse real fast and around. It was moving like that.
So
he saw it.
So wait a minute here. So, because we kind of jumped from this initial sighting you had to taking your grandson out and saying that you're going to telepathically call this UFO. There must have been.
I just practiced.
There must have been a time between those two incidents where you discovered you had this ability. Was there, or what?
No, there was not. There when they came, right there, the craft and did what it did. I just started. I lived in Alhambra and I had a house, and so I started practicing doing that, and then they started showing up. Every time, not every single time, but they all started showing up.
Okay.
And I had one orb. I started taking as many photos as I could. I have like 20,000 photos and videos that I have never even made public. But anyway, I had one orb that was over my house for one whole week in the same spot, which was about 150 feet above my house.
Were you the only one that could see it?
No, everybody saw it, but I didn't want to go public because I didn't want to draw their attention. This was 14 years ago. I didn't know what to make of it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I didn't know I wanted to record it, and I did. So I just went on from there and started doing summoning. I do explain how they don't expose you to too much that you can't handle. And sometimes during the beginning, they would not show up for periods of 2 weeks, and I would think that maybe I did something wrong. But then I figured out that it was just that they were careful on showing me too much because it was probably harmful for me. You got to remember that they're very highly technical, and they know a lot of things that we don't know.
So this goes on, I take it, for several years. And then finally, you decide to go public at some point. And was it you that came up with the name, the UFO Summoner, or was that a name given to you, or what?
Well, actually, I had showed my neighbor what I could do, and so he told me if I could show some friends of his. People have 40 friends, so I told him to show up at my private park. And they saw so much activity, they were really stunned. And I did it again. So he set up an interview with Blake Cousins for Third Phase of the Moon, and he got 150,000 hits on a picture that I revealed there. And that's when I knew I should go public, that it was like, I was waiting for the right time, and then I knew that God was telling me, now it's time for you to go public, Robert, and start going to bat for us, so to speak.
Now, you mentioned this picture. I'm assuming this is the picture. It kind of looks like a psychedelic turtle shell flipped upside down. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yes. So if you look at the lavender or pinkish reddish flight suits that they're wearing, they're both wearing flight suits. The pilot's leaning over, looking at where the laser is pointed. Or it could be a sound machine. I don't know what it is. It has a bulge in it. And the co-pilot's a female that's got her hands on some type of keyboard on the green instrument panel. But it was really amazing. I'm really a good analyst on analyzing photos. They look like they have a force field instead of a shield that's protecting them inside the cockpit.
Now, first of all, let's confirm here for the people that may not recognize some of the town names and such that you're mentioning. This is all taking place in and around Los Angeles, California, correct?
Everybody knows the Rose Bowl game, so it's not too far from there.
From the Rose Bowl.
Pasadena and LA on the borderline.
Okay. And this picture that you took of this this craft that resembles this upside down tortoise shell, that was taken somewhere near Pasadena?
Well, near South Pasadena and Los Angeles and Alhambra.
And this was taken during the day, of course.
Correct. I have a series of photos, and once it realized, I guess, that I took the photo, it started to change shape. And
now, had you summoned this craft, or was this a craft that just...
I summoned that craft.
You summoned that craft. And there were witnesses there.
Oh, I have tons of witnesses. But there was only a few witnesses for that photo.
But there was more than just you.
Well, it was me, my girlfriend, and her granddaughter, and her daughter.
Wow.
So they were there.
Wow. Amazing. Amazing stuff there.
Right. And it was hard. It's been hard throughout the years to convince people what I do. Even though they know me, they're so programmed that this stuff is impossible. But I am out there to show them that it's not impossible, that there are things out there that we should be aware of, and that the government shouldn't be hiding from us because we're grown-ups, and we should know. And there's benevolent beings, which I believe I am involved with. And, of course, when people say things about demons and all that, well, I believe there are malevolent forces up there, too, also.
Mm-hmm.
But, that's the way it is. Now, what are you after? If you're after evil and bad things, sure enough, you're going to find it. And if you're after to do something good on earth and start changing things for the better for mankind, well, sure, you will find that also.
So there is just a plethora of video content on the web. I guess that either you have taken or people associated with you have taken of some of these summoning events that you do. A couple of things that I wanted to ask you about right off the bat. Number one, and I've only taken a small sample of the videos that are out there, so bear with me if I'm not completely up on your whole entire library, but
sure.
The objects that you refer to as being UFOs are not what I think a lot of people would think of when they think of UFOs. They're not. A lot of them are not the classic craft, right?
Well, I can explain that.
Okay.
They have motherships that are really large ships. Some of them are miles long, and some of them are even bigger than that. And in these ships, they carry what you might call cruisers, which are pretty big ships. And they carry multiple cruisers. And in the cruisers, they carry craft that are like you might call a craft that are pretty nice size, and it just goes on, and then they get down to the orbs, which are like little drones that go up there, and so this way they don't risk the personnel. Of course, they don't want to risk personnel or causing an incident, international incident down here, because they're just here to help us. And one day when we're ready to have them come down and show us the way as far as technology, medicine, living longer, living healthier, and these things, so we can be accepted without being warmongers with nuclear bombs and weapons of all sorts. That they can trust us, then we would be able to go out there and probably even visit their planets.
Well,
naturally,
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but getting back to these different shaped objects. Now, I'm looking at one here. If nobody told me, and I just looked at this, the first thing I would say or respond with is that it looks like a piece of mylar, like a mylar, almost like a popped mylar balloon.
Are you talking about the morphine craft?
Yes, it's the silvery mylar looking.
Well, it looks like what people say a piece of aluminum, but it's not. It's capable of traveling at tremendous speeds where you won't even see it. It actually, we were ready for that shot. They came by so we could capture it. If you look at it, there was 81 photos there. Each photo depicts something else. It changes that much.
It does. It does.
Yeah, but what that is nanotechnology at its best. Very highly technical piece of hardware right there, and that's the type of deals that they have. They're always sending drones around me. I've been doing this for quite a number of years, and so I know what's out there.
So what is this? What is this that we're looking at, Robert?
About what's out there, that they have, they're highly technical. So therefore, with this. What I'm trying to do is bridge the gap.
I understand.
This technology that's only been for the privileged few that are making trillions of dollars on the technology to bring it out so it can help mankind in the planet.
Mm-hmm.
We're killing the planet with oil, and we're killing the planet with these nukes, nuclear reactors. Look at Fukushima, that thing in Japan. I mean, come on. We got to, we have to stop and think. Well, we have to really get in charge, the people of the planet, and stop letting corporate America or the corporates of the world dictate their agenda and destroy the planet.
I don't think anybody would disagree with you on that. I think a lot of people would agree with the fact that, these ETs are here to try to help us. Some would think not. But getting back to this video of this silvery morphine object, are you saying that object, are you saying that it contains some sort of ET intelligence within it, or is it more of some type of exploration type of craft?
No, I believe that they are bio and mechanical at the same time. They are highly intelligent. Depends that particular one, the aluminum-looking one. I believe it's just we're going into an area where I am not an expert in, but I've observed them for 14 years, and they are really spiritual. They're not, but they're capable of changing shape, going from small to large.
Mm-hmm.
They're capable of traveling at tremendous speed. They're capable of doing all kinds of things that you would consider a miracle. But people think that I call them angels. I believe that's what they are. They're angels,
Right.
and they're protecting us, and they're doing God's work, and they're protecting the planet also.
So I wanted to ask you about that. I wanted to ask you about that because I did see some quotes on the internet where you talk about your personal thoughts as far as these being some type of angel. Do you come?
I believe I'm the first one that was coming out with that. Now a lot of people are jumping the bandwagon, which is good.
There are a lot of people, yeah.
But I believe everybody thought I was, I went out there in public and I described them as angels. And, we are living, I live in the city of angels. And I want to make LA a UFO, recognized as a UFO hotspot, which are angels. I don't like calling them UFOs, but then I get a lot of flack from the religious powers, the people out there that are very fanatically religious, and they might not look at what they saying that they're angels. But I can rest my case when I say that they are angels. This is what I tell them. I say God made us in His image, correct? And they have to say yeah. And I say, well, look at around us. We are in God's image, yet we created all this technical stuff around us. If we are in His image and we created all these things, God is a technical God who says that angels have to fly in wings. They can fly in a craft. They can do whatever they want. So you can't close your mind and be closed-minded. You just have to be more open-minded to see the big picture.
I agree. I agree that one must keep a total open mind. I just find it very interesting, people's background. For instance, people who have grown up in a very religious surroundings, have been religious people themselves, tend to, as far as I can tell, tend to look at these things from a religious standpoint, or try to put some type of religious net around the explanation. Not everybody, but a good portion of them. But more and more, what I'm hearing are from more scientific-based ufologists that have started to cross over and come up with more of a spiritual, quote-unquote, spiritual explanation, such as the angels and fallen angels or whatever. So, yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's very confusing, very confusing.
What I'm doing is having people connect the dots, and people are starting to connect the dots from all over the world, and they're starting to what I believe I'm a pioneer. I put out things out there that people said would never work, and everybody around the world is seeing my work, and they're starting to explore it themselves. I do have a few scientists that have solved some of my work personally, and they have changed their whole outlook on things. And these are pretty well-known scientists.
And they were unable to provide any type of hardcore scientific explanation, I take it.
Right, but now they are taking a different viewpoint.
Right.
And looking, it's like looking at something, and then you got to step back and look at it in a different way, and then you start seeing things and connecting the dots.
I got you.
Yeah, of course.
I got you. So
Sure.
Now I see 2012, 2013, you've actually done some scheduled type events where you you publicly invite people to come out on a certain day at a certain time in a certain location, and you do this summoning.
Yeah.
How many of those have you done, would you
I've
say?
done so many that I've done so many that I don't. I have to go and count them all. But I think I've done over 30. You can say I've done one of the last major ones that I did was for BBC. They hired me to do what I do, and they put it on. They filmed it, and they're going to put it on their on a pilot. So I can't mention the pilot. I don't want it, but it'll be coming out in January or February, where a whole bunch of craft and a lot of miraculous things happened, and they filmed it. So this is BBC, and so I hardly wait for that to come out so the public can see.
Okay.
There's a lot of people that say a lot of crazy things about me, so I try to ignore it on my comment section on my website, but there's some pretty nasty things some people say about me.
Well, I tell you, I think there are people in this world that, for some reason, YouTube attracts all of them. I think these people have nothing better to do than to be negative. I don't care what it is. They're going to say something negative. They obviously have very large self-esteem problems. God knows what else. But yeah, it's ridiculous sometimes. And to be able to just ignore it, Robert, is a hard thing to do. But I hope you continue to just blow that off, because those people, they have problems.
Yeah, I understand that, but sometimes I do throw out my comment back, but not nasty like this. But
Right.
anyway, but I have changed some of my staunchest debunkers that are trying to prove that I was wrong have become some of my strongest followers, and so that's an accomplishment. But then there's some that I have shown many miraculous things, and they still don't have an open mind. So I don't know. It just depends on the person.
Yeah, you can't force anybody to believe one
No,
way or another. You can only present it, and they do what they want with it. I mean, that's
exactly.
Have you heard anything regarding this CE5 protocol? I believe it was Stephen Greer that came up with that.
I've heard about Stephen Greer, and I have nothing against the man, but I believe in that he doesn't possess the gift like I do. I mean, that's what I've seen and I've studied about him. But there's a lot of people that want to grab what I've been preaching for a long time, and because they have more fame and use it. So I don't know if he's doing that, but he does send people from his camp to my camp to find out what I'm doing. But it doesn't matter, because the whole point of the whole thing is I'm really not into this for the money.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to make money on this to have the resources to
Continue, right?
I got the plans for the ultimate alternative fuel cell. Also got plans for the remodification of the human cell in order to fight off all viruses that are out there to kill you. And so those things are going to take lots of money, and naturally I have to make money to do that. So I got some plans of doing things, and people have to be aware that, times are changing. And get ready for the change, because they're going to change no matter what. Even if I'm not here tomorrow, they're still going to change whether anybody believes it or not. It's going to change, because that's the way God wants it. And so the project is bigger than me. I'm just a vessel that's being used to utilize like a tool, and that's it.
Yep. Well, listen, Robert. Robert, I'm sorry, but we're getting down on time here, and I wanted to ask you a couple of quick questions, if I may. Number one, do you have any public displays scheduled at this time coming up, or nothing right now?
Uh, there's not one planned yet, but I probably will be doing one pretty soon.
Okay.
People could go on my website. It's on YouTube. You can go on it. It's UFO Robert Bingham.
Okay.
You can type in Robert Bingham the Summoner. I like to say, though, the public gave me the name the Summoner, and but what I am actually, what my real name is I am the ambassador for the Kingdom of the Most High, and that's what I am. I'm an ambassador, like a bridge to this higher knowledge and these angelic beings of it.
All right. Now, you also have a website, correct?
Yes. Again, it's UFO Robert Bingham on YouTube. And you can type in the Summoner, or you can go on Third Phase of Moon, Blake Cousin. He has like 28 or 30 of my videos. That's Third Phase of Moon. And Blake Cousin, the guy that has the website, and his brother have just put a documentary out on me. It's a part 1 and part 2 series that's out there. It just came out about 3 days ago.
Oh, all right. And that's on Third Phase of the Moon, huh?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Well, I'll put the link up for that.
And I will be coming out with my own documentary. I'm working on that pretty soon. I'm just working on the financing of it. So it's going to be an awesome documentary. And
then you've got the BBC project coming out early next year as well, huh?
Yes, and January or February. I don't know exactly the date.
All right. All right. Well, listen, Robert, it's been a very interesting conversation. I don't think I've met or talked to anybody quite like you. You are a unique individual.
Thank you.
And I hope you continue to do what you do. And, don't worry about those people commenting on YouTube. Forget about them.
Well, I'm just trying to open their minds.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you.
So they won't be so frightened when the craft and everybody come down here to change this planet for the better. So that's all I'm doing, is just trying to get them prepared for their arrival. They're here already, but when they do land and start making changes on this planet, and for the better, too.
Well, you can lead people to water, Robert, but that's about it. You can't make them drink it. So.
That's right.
All right. Well, listen.
This is all peaceful, though. This is a peaceful thing.
Well, that's good. That's a good thing.
Yes.
So perhaps maybe sometime early next year you can come back, give us an update on how things are going with you, and let us know if you've learned anything new or would like to pass on any other knowledge. We'd be very open and happy to hear it.
I'd love to, Rick. We'll do that, and we'll arrange that, and I'll be better prepared next time. And I hope everybody out there that you visit those websites. You'll see something that you should know. So thank you, Rick.
You're very welcome, and I will post your links to your website and your YouTube, and I would suggest that people go out and check it out for themselves as well. So, all right, Robert.
Thank you.
Well, listen, you have a great rest of the evening, and we'll stay in touch.
Okay.
Okay. Good night.
Good night.
You'll find the secret. To find the answer is to keep it. You'll believe it when you find something screaming across your mind. Green slime.
that have amazing experiences. And to be honest with you, I think some of those are probably more interesting than, some of the other stuff. So, Robert, before we get into the actual summoning of the UFOs, when did you start becoming interested in UFOs or noticing that you had some special communication ability or whatever?
Well, this happened
But some of the videos, I must say, are quite compelling. So, without further ado, let's welcome him to the show. Mr. Bingham, are you out there, sir?
Yes, I am, Rick. And thank you for letting me be on this show. I really am happy to come out here and enlighten your viewers.
Well, no problem. That's what this show's all about. We have some big name UFO type people on the show, but then again, we have just normal, everyday type people.
14 years ago, actually, I saw a few UFOs throughout my life as a youngster, and I was privileged to see a cigar craft when I was about 15. So I actually saw a few, but and I knew that UFOs were real, and that the government and the SETI project was really a farce to me. That they were saying that they were looking for extraterrestrial life, because I saw it. And so when it really started to
Well, greetings everyone. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Topic UFO. I'm your host, Rick Scouler, and tonight we're going to be talking to Mr. Robert Bingham, who is considered the man who summons UFOs. Now, Mr. Bingham claims that he has the power or the insight, I'm not sure what it is, to actually summon UFOs at will. I have seen some of his videos. I have not got to speak to him too much personally yet, so you're going to be learning right alongside me.